Okay, if you clicked on this thinking that I'm going to review George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones prequel, then I'm terribly sorry, but you've come to the wrong video. Okay, that's a song of ice and fire. This is fire and ice. Bienvenue and welcome to 150 Days of Winter. Hello. 7 screws, 1 plate. So today I'm going to be reviewing an 80s ski film called Fire and Ice. And before I start, I can already tell that this is going to be a tough review for anyone who was born after the 90s. Let me explain. As the full film is not available online, so realistically, the only people who will have watched this in full are people who bought the VHS back in the 80s. I personally remember seeing this video back on a coach from the airport while going to San Anton in the early 90s. There was barely any audio. It was, you know, an action-packed ski movie. When I eventually watched it in full with the sound on, etc., I remember being reminded of when you hear the music to it, it's very much more German than without the sound on, if that makes any sense. And I'm not saying there were Oompa bands or anything like that. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of 80s German synth pop type of music, I'm going to say. That theme music, once you hear it, it's going to stick in your ear for longer than you really want. Now, of course, by immediately saying, oh, this is an 80s ski film, people will immediately want to compare it to other films in the 80s. And I think that's a bit unfair because, as I said, no offense to the director, this is a German ski film and it should be watched for the merits of a German ski film. Okay? This isn't a Greg Stump or Warren Miller or anything like this. Okay? I just want to put that out there. So back in the day, ski films attempted to have a story. And in this case, it's a boy meets girl, love, dream story. Here is where the film is conflicted, because you could have got rid of all the pretense of a story almost completely, okay? As none of the actors are professional actors, they're all professional skiers. No offense to the skiers, but their acting isn't brilliant. It should be watched for the merits of the skiing and not for the acting. But before we start talking about skiers, we need to talk about the director, Willy Bogner. If you've watched my James Bond ski review, you'll know that Willy Bogner was involved in all the ski scenes, all the way from like George Lazenby to Roger Moore films. He's one of the few people who could actually ski while carrying a Panavision camera. It's also the reason why Bond always wore Bogner ski gear. A ski brand that Willy inherited from his father and continues very successfully to this day. But back to the skiers, okay? The two main characters in the film are Susan Chaffee and John Eve. Susie was an Olympic alpine ski racer and John Eve was a freestyle champion and was actually James Bond's ski double in For Your Eyes Only. Another Bond reference we have there, okay? While skiing down a bobsled run and also while being chased by motorcycles in Cortina. He also helped with the steep glacial pitches alongside Tom Sims in A View to a Kill. As you look down the cast list, you have like Jan Bucker, who won 2 world championships of ski ballet back in the 80s. Of course, Tom Sims is in this film. Again, links back to A View to a Kill, so no further introduction is really required. You can tell that he picked the best skiers for this film. The skiing takes place around Aspen and Vale and the Swiss Alps, so there's a nice mixture of two different terrains, which is great. And of the set pieces, if you watch the start, where you basically have the opening music with Jean-Yves skiing through like a glacial formation, it's all very slow motion, and it's a real testament to Bogner's cinematography. Okay, 10 out of 10. Okay, you have like Jean-Yves' main thing, which is, as a stuntman, he basically goes and does this entire like repertoire of falling off chairlift, straddling trees, skiing through buildings, skiing under snowcats, skiing without skis. It's like a resume for a stuntman. Okay, it almost in its comic value reminds me of like Buster Keaton. If you watch those old type of films, there is also some sequences that are taken directly out of like the Bond film, and this is like skiing down a bobsled run, straight out of For Your Eyes Only. But I guess, you know, if you've got someone who's crazy enough to do it, it doesn't mind duplicating it for another film, because I doubt very many people who watched For Your Eyes Only would have ever watched this film. So, you know, nothing lost. This brings us to the music, and the music, with one exception, is like really heavy Europop synth 80s based music. Okay, so you have to be, which is why I said when I first watched it, there was no sound. When you watched it, immediately you go, wow, this sounds very much like a German ski film. The opening song is written by Harold Faltermeyer, who you might know him mainly as the guy who wrote Axel F for Beverly Hills Cop. Anyway, as I said, it's that song that will stick in your ear for long after you finish watching the film. Now the big question, does this film work? As a certain unique ski film of the 80s, yes it does. Okay, Bogner's cinematography makes this a real visual treat. Okay, is it cheesy? Yes. Is it 80s kitsch? Yes. Is it unmistakably German? Yes. Or jawohl. If you watch this in the original German dubbing, you'd be slightly more forgiving than if you listen to it with John Denver, who ended up dubbing the English version. Is it worth a watch? Well, definitely. The only problem is it's not available anywhere. Okay, I had a quick peruse on eBay, and I could only find 2 VHS copies of this on eBay, and one of them actually wasn't VHS, it was a Betamax. Yeah, and they were asking a pretty penny for either of those. Okay, so Willy, if you're watching this, okay, please put the full film on the Bogner YouTube channel. Okay, so a new generation of skiers can appreciate a film that is, for all intents and purposes, no longer available. So if you are of the minority of people who have actually watched this film, I'd love to know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed these ski reviews, click the subscribe button or click the like button, and I will see you all in the next video. Ciao.